a blessed day today. 'Cause I'm claiming this day that nothing but great things are going to happen today. Nothing but great things are going to happen today. Let me turn down this heat. So, y'all, my baby girl, she's been under the weather for like the last day and a half. And so, um, like yesterday, I made sure she stayed home because I was like, you got to go to school. She was like, I don't want to go to school. I don't feel well. She was right. So, because the day before, I made sure she stayed home and she had her little muncher because she had a little cold. You know how kids do when they go out here and another kid is not feeling good. Next thing you know, they're not feeling good. But anyway, she's perfectly fine today. She's getting ready to go to school. So she had her day of rest, her 2 days. So yesterday I get a text message from my mother that her tooth fell out, and my mother sent me a photo of my daughter and her tooth. First of all, shout out to grandmothers that be on it. Shout out to all the grandmothers that want to be in their grandchild's life and are huge influencers in their grandchild's life. So anyway, my mother said, I said, all snaps. I made sure when I got off of work, I went straight to the bank so I could pull out some dollars. Well, I went to the grocery store to break change so I could have a couple of dollars to put under my daughter's pillow because I know she's gonna be looking for that money so she could go to the Dollar Tree and pick her out a couple of toys. It's so cute because when the top front tooth came out, she came running in the room. She had an envelope with, I'm talking about bangles, gems, and dollars and quarters and stuff. I said, whoa, look at all of this. I said, where did the tooth fairy go? And she was so cute. She ran to the window and she was looking like, I don't know. And I said, it was just so cute. I just know that when she gets older, she won't be this innocent little girl who believes, that it's a daggone tooth fairy. But anywho, so this morning she gets up and she's just like, I have to go and look under my pillow. And I'm like, go ahead. I said, and I'm like, oh, what's under the pillow? Now, first of all, she stayed up all night because when I got home, she was asleep. So when she woke up in the middle of the night and she was up watching Jesus cartoons. She was watching Jonah, David and Goliath. She was watching her shows. And I told her she needs to go to bed. And she was like, well, the tooth fairy. I said, tooth fairy is not going to come to put anything underneath your pillow if you still awake. That's just not going to happen. She broke down crying. I said, all you have to do is just go to bed. Plus, she was waking me up. I'm like, come on now. So she finally went to bed, and I woke up like around 4 something in the morning. I was like, oh yeah, shout out to the mothers and fathers, the parents who remember stuff, even if you an auntie. I don't care. I woke up and then I went ahead and put the little dollars under her pillows with the little blue gem or whatever. And then I went back to bed and I was like, that's it. So she woke up and she went and she went under her pillow and she was like, Mommy, look. I said, whoa, where'd you get all that cash from? It was under my pillow. So I was like, oh. So now she's like, she don't want to go to school. She wants to go to the store. She wants to go to the Dollar Tree so she can spend this money. And I'm like, you got to go to school because your teachers miss you. You've already missed 2 days. So then she's like, Mommy, later on, she's like, Mommy, don't go to work. And I'm like, oh, my baby, really, she wants me to stay home. And I was like, Mommy has to go to work, Tails. And she was like, but why? And I was like, so I can buy you a pony. Mommy has to go to work so we can have a roof over our heads. Mommy has to go to work so you can enjoy your room with your dolls and stuff. I'm thinking she just wanted me to stay home. Whole time she was like, "No, I want you to stay home so you can take me to the Dollar Tree." Well, I'll be daggone it. You wasn't thinking like, "Oh, let my mom stay home and spend some quality time." You was like, "You need to stay home so you could take me to the Dollar Tree so I could pick out 4 toys." Smart girl. But anyway, I thought that was so funny. Then I said, "Symphony, can I have those $4?" She was like, "Sure, mommy, you can." I took those $4 and put it in my pocket. And I waited. I was just waiting to see if she's gonna be like, "Give me my $4." She didn't say anything. So I said, "Here, Symphony, you can have your $4. Thank you so much for sharing." She said, "Thank you, and you're welcome." And then my mother came in the room and she showed her grandmother her $4. And I mean, this is the type of stuff that it just really makes me smile because it's just so innocent, so cheesy, and it's just so fun. Like, because sooner or later she's gonna be like, "You put that money underneath there. I saw you. There ain't no daggone tooth fairy." But yeah, God is good. But yeah, so my baby is going schooling all at once happened to her mouth. Like she got a couple of loose teeth that's coming out. When we went to the dentist, I think it's like 3 of them that's supposed to be falling out. But she was like, "Look at my dollars." I was like, "Whoa, where'd you get that from?" But just waking up, like, okay, 4 in the morning, it was like mother instance. Wake up, Mona, get that money out that purse and put it under that, snatch that tooth, and you got to be real slick about it too. So I was real slick about it. I put that stuff on. I didn't say a daggone. Where she woke up and she was like, "I gotta check my pillow." She got up and she ran in her room and she looked underneath, and there was her little $4. She was just like, "Wow, mommy, look." I was like, "Whoa, whoa." Y'all should see. I think I was a little bit more excited than her. I said, "How did you get all that cash?" She was like, "The tooth fairy." I was like, "Whoa, you're the richest girl in the world." Here she go. Thanks. My daughter is so, like, she is so like innocent, and there's certain things she do that it remind me of her dad. She was like, "Thanks." It's like, "You're the richest girl in the world, Symphony." Thanks, with her little $4. I'm telling you, for some of y'all that be giving y'all kids like $400 underneath the pillow, $4, they'll be looking like, "What? Excuse me? This is an insult." But I enjoy the innocent. Like, we go to the Dollar Tree, you could pick out one toy, or you could pick out 2 toys. But now she got $4, so she know she can pick out 4 toys. So she gonna be ready. But the Dollar Tree ain't the Dollar Tree no more. It's $1.25. I'll make sure I got another dollar of quarters for her. But yeah, y'all, that was my highlight of the day. That made me just that makes me want to get up and do better, and get up and, you know what I mean, and really do better. Let me give y'all my testimony too. So a couple of weeks back, right, I needed to get my trees cut. Well, a couple of months back. And I'm gonna tell you something. God provides. My father, our father, he provides. I know you be like, "How?" Don't even ask how. He will provide. So I needed to get my trees cut some months ago, because I don't know what in the world, like, my trees, them things, they grow like wildfire for real, like growing over other people's fences, laying on other people's fences. It's just, up against the house. It's just everywhere you look, it was like dun 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 dun, and even over the pool. Like I remember when I first moved in, the pool water was warm in the summertime. It was warm this summer, but you had to kind of warm yourself up. And the reason why I realized later on is because the daggone trees grew over the pool. So it was blocking the sun from warming the pool up. And also it's a nightmare. I'm talking about a nightmare just cleaning those leaves out of the pool. It's a complete nightmare. You spend all day just getting them out, and the robots are just filled with just tree goo. So every tree guy that I was speaking to, they wanted like an arm and a leg just to cut down the trees. It only takes like literally a couple of minutes for you to cut down a tree limb. I should know because I have a chainsaw and I know how to cut. I just can't get that far up, and you got to be careful because you don't know what can hit whatever. So every day when I would leave for the house, I'll be like whining, like, I'll be like, Father, I really need help. Like, Lord, I need these trees to be cut. Oh, but there's this to do, and that to do. So getting the trees cut was like the last on my list, even though it was a huge priority. So I'm writing it down like, okay, I got to get the trees cut. I got to get them pushed back from the pool, the front of the house, the side of the house, you name it. They just got to be cut because I'm looking at these trees and I'm like, they're taking over. I mean, I love the trees, they bring forth nature and stuff, but they are taking over. And I'm like, what am I to do? So, of course, I'm crying out to the Lord because, next door neighbors, they're like, yeah, you need to cut your trees because, you don't want the tree to fall on your house. Well, yeah, we got a pool and, we cut our trees. And I'm trying to tell you, pools and trees just don't mix. You just need to cut them out. And I'm like, yeah, that's easy, being so that you have a husband right there. But I digress. I'm not even gonna go there. So I'm all like, Father, I'm like, Lord. Now remember I was telling y'all about the driveway. Everybody was getting their driveway resealed and stuff. And I was like, I want mine's done too. And God, actually, I got mine done. I was able to buy the actual product, and God showed me how to put it down. And I'm gonna tell you, mine looks smoother than everybody's on the block. But I ain't gonna lie, that was the hardest. That was the hardest chore ever. I don't think I would ever do that again. But anyway, God made it happen. So let me go back to the trees. So I was trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get this done? So one day I ended up calling someone where I work at, a contractor, to get some work done. And the person didn't answer, but instead I got a call that came back in. And the person was like, yeah, I'm the tree guy. And I said, the tree guy? I'm wondering, how did I dial some tree guy's number, and maybe I must have accidentally dialed the number. And so the tree guy calls me back that I didn't even have in my phone, but I can see, how you see when you called out. I must have slightly had the numbers mixed up, and I ended up dialing some random guy who cuts trees. The guy's like, yeah, so you need your tree cut? What's your address? What's your address? I'm like, hey, hold on. So what is it that you do? I cut trees, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I might have saw the number on the side somewhere, and I'm just trying to figure out how did I ended up calling this person. So bottom line, the next morning, the person calls and says, I'll be there 8 in the morning, okay? And I'm like, nah, you got to be at 9 because I'm still sleeping. So the person shows up, y'all. He shows up in this little Honda. I don't know what it was. It was like a little Toyota, and it was him and his friend. I don't know if it was a cousin, a brother, or whatever. But they Latino brothers, my Latino brothers. So he shows up, right? And I tell him what's going on. And I'm like, I don't see no type of I don't see any type of flatbed. I don't see nothing to mulch the trees or anything. So he shows up, and then we're going over everything. And I thought he was gonna give me a quote or whatever. And I said, "Well, I just want a quote and get the work done." He said, "No, no. What can you give me today?" And I'm like, "What? Wait a minute." So I had to move some things around. I had to tell my pool guy I'll get with him later because this guy was ready to do some work right away. Anyway, y'all, he gave me an awesome price. And he started right then and there. This joker got up in the trees because he said he was a tree climber. Never seen anything like it. He got up in the trees. He had the saw attached to a daggone rope while his man was anchoring the trees at the bottom. And when I tell you he did such a good job, he cut my trees back and everything. Oh, before I say that, I had a dream. I had a dream a couple of nights before then that my trees were trimmed back. And God was showing, Mona, I'm going to get your trees trimmed back. And I was like, okay. I mean, I literally saw the limbs of the trees that was trimmed back. They weren't cut down, but the limbs were like missing. They were trimmed back. Or I told him, do not, this tree right here that was like anchoring over the pool, I do not want this tree to drop in the pool. And he was like, it won't, I won't. And when I tell you he got up there, he climbed all the way up there, and he was slicing and dicing, and his guy at the bottom was anchoring the trees to fall at the angles, that when it was completed, it was exactly what God showed me in my dream. I'm trying to tell you, when the Father does it, he does it for real. Everything that you're looking for, what you want, what you need, he will provide. And I also realized too that man, he needed work. Him and his partner, or I don't know if that's his son, his brother, cousin, they needed work done. And when I went ahead and gave him cash, and the other part I wrote him a check, he said, just make sure you don't put what the check is for. And I said, oh, I won't. I'm gonna keep him in the pocket for real. I don't care, man. There are people out here that'll build you a daggone freaking house, okay? But I was just so grateful because that was a really worrisome thing to me, especially when that daggone hurricane came through. Well, we had the remnants of it, but Florida got hit with that hurricane, and I was just looking at my trees like, y'all got to understand, trees are alive, okay? Read the Bible when it talks about that tree that's planted by the river. Trees are alive. I go out and I be talking to my trees. I will put my hands on the tree and be like, look, I need you to make sure you hold on to all of your limbs. They cannot. I'm laughing, but no, off of some real stuff. I really do. I be like, look, I need you to hold on to your limbs and make sure none of them hit the house or anybody else's stuff. Just please, just don't do this. I have seen like, I'll never forget. It was like 2 years ago. I was on FaceTime with another tree guy because he had actually pruned the front of the tree in the house. And I'm all like, yeah, this needs to be done. And as soon as I open my gate, I'm like, oh my goodness. The entire backyard is like some huge tree just fell. And it was literally the limb, but it was so big that you couldn't even see where it started and where it ended. And I just was like, how did this not hit the house or my next door neighbor's fence? It just perfectly landed right in the yard. So yeah. So you could tell that I was like really huge about that tree situation. So anywho, I'm getting real hot up in here. So anyway, so fast forwarding, when that hurricane was coming through, I was just like, that was on my mind. I really don't want these trees to fall and hit. I need some help. I need some help. And he sent it to me. So I'm just so grateful. So I have to give y'all that testimony. To some of y'all probably be like, oh, I have a friend that knows how to do it. Oh, but when you sitting up here moving this and moving that and saving this and saving that and don't even have it to do it, and God just provide and make a way to get it done. And I knew it was God because that guy was so persistent. He was like, no, what about now? No, it need to be done now. That's what can you give me now? I said, all right, all right, all right. I had to move some stuff around, but I was able to get it done. So when I come home, I don't feel like, oh, this tree, oh, it's gonna fall. I feel like, okay, I'm good. And I was seeing my next door neighbors, they would have the tree people come out with the whole bucket, the whole shebang, and they they got their side. When God uses people, he'll do it in a way where it's just like it's so left wing. I mean, this guy showed up in this little titty car, and I'm like, what do you have that's gonna get anything done? He went to his car, he opened up the trunk, brought out that chainsaw and that long rope. He cut the trees up and cleaned the debris, dragged it all around back, and he made me firewood too, because I got a fireplace. What's up with this? I don't like what they're doing to this fence over here. So I got some firewood. So if I want to start up my fireplace, and I got some firewood, if I want to be in the back with a bonfire or you know what I'm saying, want to put a couple of logs in the back, I can. So I was really extremely, extremely grateful. I was very grateful. So I have to give y'all that testimony. Um, so yeah, what's going on with all this traffic? So yeah, my daughter got her little $4, and she's excited too because she gets to go to. She's going to be going to her camp. Well, it's not camp. She's going to be going to church. Her church group study this Sunday, which she loves. I thought that was really cute because I witnessed the kids going out and they singing to the Lord and they're roasting marshmallows and I'm sitting there looking at my baby. And you know what I was thinking too? I was like, her father chose this church and her father wanted her to be baptized in the church, and she was. And now she goes to the church and she's just so involved, and I just see like how big she's becoming, and I'm like, wow. But y'all, God has been good. It's been certain things when I'm just like, oh Lord, what's gonna happen? Oh, but God has been coming through and he has been showing out. And the mere fact that I missed out that number, and it was exactly who needed to cut those trees. I am so grateful. And it's just the awe and the awesomeness of God. Like the things that we desire and the things that we ask for, sometimes we think like, well, how is that going to happen? How is that? How is that going to come to pass? And we have to have faith. Because I'm gonna tell you, I kept praying. I was real persistent. I'm real persistent with the Father. I'd be like, Lord, I know I asked you. I just prayed about this. But look, he hears you because the way that guy showed up, and he is just a petite guy. Or another thing, when he was in the back cutting, after he sits to the side, because I think he was calling his wife or something, he got up the phone. He said, "Where your husband at? Where's your husband?" I was like, oh. It threw me off guard. I said, oh, uh, he's not here. I was like, he's not here. Yeah, that's right. I didn't say, yeah, that's right. I was like, oh, he's not here. That reminded me too. I said, let me hurry up and go run upstairs, put my ring on. Because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't been wearing my ring. And some of y'all say, why? Well, sometimes I just don't feel like it. I just don't feel like putting on the ring. But I did put the ring back on because I was like, okay, this is business. Not saying that the man was looking at me a certain way or flirting or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that. It's just that he asked the question. And so I basically was like, he's not here, which was the truthful answer. But nevertheless, I did get those tree limbs and that them trees cut. Like y'all have no idea. Like to look at those trees and see how they was leaning, the anxiety that came out. I was like, oh, whew, please don't fall. Just don't do this to me today. And then you have your, and then I ain't gonna lie, at first I thought my next door neighbor, somebody was being funny and probably gave the number out. But then I was like, that couldn't be because I dialed the number. And I was thinking, well, maybe I saw it somewhere, but no, because when he showed up in a little Hyundai Toyota. I don't know what it was, but he showed up in a little small car that you wouldn't even think. And the car was kind of low to the ground. You wouldn't think that he had, some tools in his what's that called, in his trunk. And it's amazing how God will use the most randomest people that you would think that don't know what they're doing, but those be the ones that are like that. They know what they're doing. It's just like with my 300M, my Chrysler. I was told that for a $40 part, that if I didn't have part on my car, I would no longer have that car anymore. And so me and my father, we went to Crazy Rays. We went to some, I don't know if it was Crazy Rays. We went to some little junkyard where all the cars was just basically sitting on rims. But the whole thing is that you had to literally find a vehicle that was just like your vehicle and take a part off of that car. And you had to take the part off of it. So when me and my father showed, there was this old man. He was an old, tall black man. And a lot of people was like, well, go to him. He know what to do. He know this junkyard. I'm looking at him like, man, that dude look like somebody's great, 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 great grandpappy. How's he gonna need to? He don't need. He looked like he got arthritis. He was sitting on his bag eating a sandwich. Talk about you need some help with what? And I'm like, I need you to get the gas line off of this. It was another 300M Chrysler. The Chrysler was gorgeous. I mean, it was a light blue. It had leather seats, and the leather inside of the blue was white. I mean, it was pretty. So I told him, I need you to get this part off of this car. So he was like, well, I'm going to have to move the engine. I'm going to have to move that. I'm going to have to move this and move that. It's going to be a lot. And I'm like, how much? Well, for you, I guess I could try to do it for like maybe $200. So I'm like, okay, I gotta pay $200 for him to remove it, 40 something odd dollars for the part, whatever. But I was thinking, he was like, but it may be a while. And I was like, okay. So me and my father, we drive over to the McDonald's. Y'all, I lie to you not. Within 30 minutes, he called us and was like, oh, the part's removed. And I thought to myself, you got me. The whole time you knew what the heck you was doing. But you made it seem so like, oh man, you ain't gonna be able to do this, but you got me. But he knew what he was doing. So God is sending the most oddest people in your life to do things you in your life, and then you look back and you be like, wow, you know what I mean? Wow. That's like, I'm gonna give you another testimony. When I was looking for a new position, because the position that I was in at the time, I was trying to make manager. I was trying to, after they were going to give me the position, but they ended up giving it to someone else. Y'all, it's not funny. But when I was on Zoom, I thought I was like, yes, they're going to give me the position because they saw me rocking out, me getting these numbers, me moving above and beyond. And so when I was on Zoom, They were like, we know you wanted the position. I was like, yeah, I'm all smiling. The only thing remind me of, I sent my friend the SpongeBob cartoon, because I was all smiling and cheesy, like, yeah, it belongs to me, right? I know all the work I done around here belongs to me, right? Yeah. When they told me they interview other people internally away, and I'm thinking to myself, but y'all didn't even interview me and you knew I wanted the position. They told me they hired somebody else, y'all. I forgot I was on Zoom. I said, you did what? Y'all didn't even interview. Like, I was so mad. They were so tired. I said, I don't even want to talk about this no more. I was like, all the stuff I did. Like, when I tell you I went off in that daggone Zoom, I went off. Needless to say, needless to say, they ended up. So I don't know if y'all heard me because my phone just did some crazy stuff. But I went off on that Zoom. I was like, y'all hire who? I was so mad. I was like, how could y'all do this? And then all that professionalism went out the window. And they were like, well, we just, I don't even want to talk about this no more. What's his name? And then I'm talking about what's his name, the person they hired, right? They gave me the person. I said, "What's his last name?" Because I worked with a owner with that same name, and I vow I would never work with that dude ever again. So it wasn't him. So nevertheless, I was just, I felt some type of way, and I had a conversation with the Lord, like, that's not fair. But God showed me the reason why they didn't give me that position is because they needed me to keep pulling in that paper, keep making sure I fill up the quota and make sure the numbers look good. And there's nobody that could do what I did, so they only put him in there temporarily, because when they hired the new guy, they ended up selling the whole asset, the whole property, and everybody was out of jobs. So what I did was, I'm like, man. So the owners that I worked for was selling the building, and they smart, because at the end of the day, they built the building with their money for like $50 million, and they sold it for 100 million. And the only thing we got was basically, stay on board, we'll give you 2 months of pay or whatever. And I'm like, that ain't enough. So what I did was I fasted for 20, I think it was 21 days. I fasted for 20 days. I did not have any food. It was just straight water and prayer. And I'm gonna tell you what God did. And I asked the Father, I want to leave this building on my own terms. The new management company that came in, they was basically like, the money that I'm making, they thought I was making too much. And I was like, well, if you can't afford me, don't even look at me. I mean, if you want a Pinto versus Mercedes Benz and Maybach, then don't look in this direction. Just don't. But you get what you pay for. So anywho, so they ended up saying, no, we're not going to need you. But I said, okay, but we really liked you, and if we had something, I said, that's perfectly fine. So now I'm looking and I'm praying. And I also told them, I said, so what y'all going to do? Because everybody leaving, including the person that's underneath me, he got promoted somewhere else. How y'all going to learn how to run stuff around here if you don't have somebody to show you? And they were like, oh. Okay, well, we'll keep you. So they kept me for a couple of weeks until I found something, or they found their new person was coming in. And let me tell you how God works. I fasted and I prayed. And I got interviewed for the position that I am in now. Um, the person that came to interview me, he showed up at my job before this takeover happened and interviewed me in my office. But the position that I was going for, I was actually an assistant. But what ended with God, what he did was he got me over to the new place and I became the manager. God did that. He did that. And the people that would not offer me because they said I'm too expensive, when it was time for me to go and I gave them my notice and said, thank y'all, but I have to move on. The Who was she? She was the vice president of the company. She begged me to stay. And I told her, I cannot. And their numbers went from 90. Well, when we were there, the numbers there were, we were 96. And when I left, them numbers went to like 80 something percent, a huge drop. And so where I went to, I excelled and the numbers just look phenomenal. But anyway, the main thing was is that what I prayed for back then, God remembered my prayer. And I felt like, how they gonna sit up here and choose it? They only chose that person because they knew they were gonna sell. And they needed me to stay in the position that I was in because I was excelling and getting those numbers. And if I moved to a different position, I would need somebody to show, um, I would need somebody to do what I do. And so God put me in a position to be able to excel. And I'm like, that was nothing but the Lord. That was nothing but the Lord. And it came in such an odd way because, again, I got interviewed in my office at that time. And this guy looked out, and I said to myself, because this particular person, he looked out for me, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna rock out for him. Like, he's never gonna have to worry about his numbers because he knows, like, this one right here, this lady right here, when she come through, she rocks all the way out. Even my team be like, Mona, you always be like, all right, y'all, let's rock out. I do. I used to say this to my husband when we be rocking shows, let's rock out. Like, we make sure we do really good with the numbers, and I'm very competitive. So that was my blessing and my testimony on that end, because I don't think I was ever able to talk about my testimony in it, and just in general my walk with God and what God has been doing for me. Another thing, um I had prayed. Hold on, let me see how much time I got on my thing. Hold on. I don't know what's up with all of this. I didn't realize I was out of juice. Okay, let me see. You may be in a season in your life or in a place in your life, and you just wondering, how is God? How am I going to get out of this? Lord, how you going to fix this? Like, I need help with this. And again, um, there was times where I was just like, okay, I didn't know that this was going to happen, and I didn't do whatever, but I need to make some extra money. Because again, some of y'all may have the luxuries of going to your man or your husband and saying, babe, and your husband's like, oh, baby, don't worry, we have some money here. I go straight to the father. Father, I need help. I do. And I'm human just like, and I'm still grinding to make sure I get to the level where I'm not, well, I'm not going to say I'm not praying, because I'm always pray to the Father, because that is who takes care of me and mine. It just is. It ain't me. It's him. And so I just wanted to give y'all like my little, not little, but my testimonies, because God is such a faithful God. And even if he didn't do anything for me, it's just the mere fact that he knows the desires of my heart. I remember two about a I want to say almost 1.5 years ago, I was looking at this car. Well, first of all, I noticed that all of my first of all, I prayed and asked God to direct my footsteps. Like, I just need, I'm like, Lord, I just need you to direct my footsteps. Like, point me in the direction everywhere I need to go. I don't want to do it on my own. I don't even just want the light upon the path. I need you to direct me. And then this is when I know I'm doing the right thing and going the right way, because You are directing me. So, um, about a year and a half ago, I wanted to, I wanted to get a new car, and I was just window shopping, looking around. I wanted to get a Mercedes Benz, but then when I test drove one, it drove just like my 300M. So I was like, there's no daggone difference. And that 300, you can haul a lot of stuff in there. And now as a mom, and I look for things that you can haul a lot of stuff in, because I need to haul a lot of things. Sometimes I need to haul a fence, or or something long or whatever that I'm taking home, because you got to haul some stuff. So so I remember years ago when I had got this little, I don't know what type of car that was. It was a stick shift. But I remember praying, and I was like, God, I want to get a car where that that represents me, or a car that you think I should be in. Sorry, y'all. I started looking around, and I'm like, I noticed like where I stay at, everybody got a 4x4. Everybody has a 4 by, like they got 4-wheel drive or something. They got some type of truck. And then it dawned on me, Mona, you don't know how this area is when it snows. You just don't. And I was like, ah. So I was looking around, and of course, I was looking at some Mercedes Benz, but it was a truck. And I'll never forget that the inside of this truck, it had leather stitching, it had the sunroof, the seat warmers, it had all of this stuff. And the lady came out, and I was looking at the back, and I was with my daughter. We were just looking, and the lady came out and was like, "That's a $55,000 car." And I was like, okay. And anywho, around that time, like later on down the line, I forgot about the truck. But I was looking at the back of it. I think the more so I was looking at the back of it to see like what's the hauling capacity, like how much stuff can I stuff up in here. If I'm going home with groceries and I have to put a wood fence up, can I put that in the back? I'm thinking like that, as long as that. And then when gas prices started to go up, my 300M, every 2 days I would, especially traveling from traveling to another state, to Virginia, it was like 60 something odd dollars just to fill up the car. And every time I turned around, the car was in the shop. So around that time, like later on, like last year, my dad went out and bought some on. He bought a car. He already had a Toyota, but then he went ahead and he called me and was like, Mona. I was like, what's going on, Dad? I bought me a truck. I'm like, how much is the note, Dad? You don't want to know. And I was like, all right, well, enjoy. But anyway, he had bought a van. He bought a Sienna, or whatever like that, one of them little electric hybrids or something. And I didn't say anything about it. But later on down the line, I'm like, Dad, what made you buy something like that? I'm like, you don't have children. All your kids are grown. Plus, you have to lift up to get in the car. You got to lift out to get out the car. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So, he was just like, well, he tried to take the car back, but he couldn't take it back. But anywho, meantime, between time, I'm on the end, and I'm praying and asking God for a different vehicle. And I asked God, give me a vehicle that you want me to have. So when my father started to get sick or whatever, he, of course, dealing with the car and everything, he just wasn't able to maintain it. I'm like, Dad, we can get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. And then what ended up happening around that time is that my mother, her car cocked out. That thing had, my mechanic was like, that thing need to go to the daggone junkyard. She had over 200 and something thousand miles on her Subaru that she loved so much. So she got rid of it. And so now she has my car, which is the Chrysler 300. And, because she's, my mom, and plus she helps me with my daughter, taking her back and forth, and my mother need to get places, so she's doing that. And I ended up, because my father was not feeling well, I ended up being placed on um, his car information for this particular vehicle. And so I just told my father, okay, this is what I'll do. I went ahead and took over the car and maintained the car until he could get himself together. And in the process of that, I told my dad, I was like, yeah, when you get out, you'll be able to, have your car and be able to, enjoy it. But of course, y'all know the story. My father ended up passing away, and I ended up getting the vehicle. Now, and at first, I was so upset with my dad. Like, how could you get this car? And he was like, man, this is a real good car. And I'm like, Dad, it's a Jaguar Toyota. I'm like, I just couldn't get over the name Toyota. It wasn't a Benz. It wasn't an Audi. It's a Toyota. And he was like, this state of the line. And I'm like, Dad, I was going back and forth. It wasn't until I drove the car and we had a bad snowstorm last year. And I remember I then took on a new position, and I'm on the way home. My father was in the rehab at the time trying to get healing in his leg and on his foot. And I was on the phone with my father was coming on the ground. When I got to my destination, well, upon my destination, going through DC, the roads was fine. But when I hit that other part of Maryland, it was bad. It looked like a bomb went off. I'm talking about cars, trucks, big trucks were on the side of the road. People were stuck. And I couldn't believe when I'm driving, this car is just like smoothly going. And I'm like, okay, I didn't slide or anything, and all of these lights and stuff was coming on, like the roads or whatever. But when I got home, the crazy part about it is when I got to my side, because we in the country, they didn't plow the road. So when I was driving, it was actually following the tracks of another car. The car just did not, like, if it was my 300M, oh please, my car would have been like, girl, bye. You better not take me over there because I'm gonna get stuck and shut down on you. But the car that I was driving, it took me straight through. And I just knew as soon as I pulled in this driveway, I'm gonna have to run and I'm gonna have to run and grab my snow machine to shovel the driveway, because I have a long driveway. So I'm gonna have to use that snow machine to get that snow out. And y'all, as soon as I went to turn in, I'm driving through all of this snow, and the car's not slipping, it's not sliding. I was just blown away how good it did. And then as soon as I hit my driveway, one of my next door neighbors, so kind, I don't even know who it was, but they literally plowed my driveway out. Like, my driveway was just all blacktop. And I asked my mother who did it so I could at least tell them thank you. My mother was like, when she looked out the window, it was people walking away and she didn't know who they were from. And I'm like, oh my, I could have at least told them thank you, because that was nothing but God. And so remember, I asked God for a new position. I asked him for a new ride. I didn't think I was going to end up getting my father's car, but I ended up getting the vehicle that my father ended up taking. And ever since then, like, I'm really impressed with how this vehicle is. Number one, you can hit a button and your doors slide back. I also drove all the way to Myrtle Beach on one gas tank. I said, if I drive to Myrtle Beach on one gas tank, I'm already sold. That's it. And um, so just those little things, and then going back to the trees being cut, I'm just like, when God gives you something, He doesn't add any sorrow to it. Plus, the things that you really want, the things that you desired, he already heard your prayer on it. Like that guy, the way he showed up, the way he cut those trees, y'all, the way he cut those trees. I was so happy. I look like the Chester cat. I was walking out with my cup of coffee, like, hmm. I know my next door neighbor's like, oh, I see she's over there getting her treats. Yes, I am. I was nice. It's stuff like that that just makes me, I'm just so grateful because God, He is walking with me, just like He's walking with y'all. But some people could think, oh, honey, that's nothing. Well, I haven't gotten to the level of having the groundskeeper and the maid and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to that level. I'm trying to get to that level right now. And I'm still at the level where I'm still learning to do certain things. But God is sending people, and he's sending people to help me, and at the same time these people are looking for a blessing too, like, they're looking to get paid as well. And so the last person may have said, I'll do it for you for 2,000, but this person is like, man, give me 400, I got you. Because even with my 300M, I had to put that daggone solenoid in, and everybody was wanting like 2,100 to do it. And a brother, he was like, what? Give me $700. I got you. And so I was really happy about, that God would send me people that would be honest and they would help me, because at the end of the day, they need help too. So that was my testimony. And today, when I woke up this morning, my daughter's like, she's super excited about her $4 that she got. And I mean, she was just overly joyed and was like, Mommy, don't go to work. And I was like, oh, my baby doesn't want me to go to work. Whole time I was like, why you don't want me to go to work? I want you to take me to the Dollar Tree. Like, girl, get out of here. You and your $4. You and your $4. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that with y'all, that, being a parent, I love every bit of it. And even though I'm working, I do make sure that I have time for my daughter. And, because it's easy for somebody to go home and forget, oh, snap, there's a tooth underneath the daggone pillow. Some of y'all be like, I don't do all that. Well, I do. I do. I do. But it's just even the other little things. But yeah, God is good. It's been times, and I'm just like, Lord, how you going to get me out of this? How are you going to help me? How am I going to fall and land on my feet, Lord? And he's just like, Mona, I got you. I got you. God is faithful, and he is faithful, and he's he's faithful and true. But anyway, y'all, I just wanted to share that, and y'all have a blessed day today.